So these fragrances here are some of my very favorites that I will repurchase for the rest of my life. And that's assuming that they're still being produced at the time of me running out and wanting to repurchase it. If it's still available, I'm definitely getting it again. However, you and I both know that the common theme anymore is things get discontinued after a few years. So you never know what the future holds, but theoretically, or at least as of right now, assuming that these are available and I run out, I'm purchasing them again. And what it comes down to is the fact that I like them so much that I don't want to be without them. And these are just some of my favorites, each for their own reason. And we'll go over that. I think that kind of adds some value to the video as well. So for the most part, these aren't going to be huge strangers of the channel. Like, you've seen these around, you've seen me talk about them because I really do like them, and I like them a lot, and I wear them a lot. So I'll drop some links to these down below to discounters as we work through the video. I'll reference prices, and those prices are going to be discounter prices, which oftentimes varies greatly from retail. So whenever you can save money by shopping through discounters, I highly recommend it. We got a pretty good chunk of scents to get through here, so let's get it started and we'll try to move through it here. Acqua di Gio Parfum. So, you know, I have Profumo, and this is the new reimagined version. They're cutting out Profumo, they're making it easier to understand. You now have an EDT, an EDP, and a Parfum, which is the richest and strongest version of Acqua di Gio, at least so far. And as you guys also know, I have plenty of Profumo, right? If I were to ever run through that, I would repurchase this in a heartbeat. And what I like about the Parfum is that it's, you know, that Profumo DNA, but they actually improved things here. It's a little bit more smooth off the opening. You get a different note combination in the dry down. So rather than incense, it's an olibanum and patchouli. So a nice little twist there, which I like, and something that you pick up on faintly, you know, especially when you've spent as much time with Profumo as I have. And so even for that reason alone, if I were to work through a bottle of the Parfum, I would probably pick up the Parfum again, even though I have Profumo, just because I like those little variances. So now that's something to kind of keep in mind here as well. If you're looking for the Acqua di Gio Profumo DNA and you can get the Parfum for a good price, go for this one. You won't regret it one bit. This DNA is amazing. It's super wearable. It's a great compliment getter. Great quality, great performance. There's really nothing to dislike about this stuff, aside from maybe for some it's a bit boring, but other than that, this is going to suit you very well. Also, it retails for, what is it, $200, $198, $199. You can get it on discounters for usually $115 to $120 and when it's in stock, so make sure you wait for that. Next up, we have L'Homme Eau de Parfum by YSL. So the reason why this one is special to me, the reason why it's being featured in the video is because I love the original L'Homme, the EDT, one of my favorite designer scents. It's classy, it's gentlemanly, it's refined. It has this kind of apple, ginger woodiness that smells very, very upscale in a way and very masculine. It has a little bit more of a kind of slightly traditional feel, but not too much. You know, it just doesn't smell like everything that's being pumped out today. And it makes sense. It came out years ago at this point. The Eau de Parfum is that DNA, but with a little bit of a slight boozy kick, some bitter orange, but it still holds true to that DNA that you're familiar with if you've smelled the original L'Homme and you've worn it as much as I have. And so in and of itself, I will repurchase the original L'Homme if I ever run out of it. I have a lot of it though. I do also really love the EDP. It's grown on me substantially. At first, I was kind of in the boat of, I don't really need it because I like the original so much, but the more I wear it, the more I smell it, the more I realize how good of a job they did at kind of just simply improving that already existing DNA, just adding a nice little twist, maybe perhaps a little bit of an evening twist. That's what I like about this. Whenever I run through this stuff, I'll definitely be purchasing it again. It's amazing stuff to have. Next up is no surprise, Dior Homme Intense. I will always, always, always have a bottle of this stuff. Guaranteed. There is not a time that will ever go by where I don't have Dior Homme Intense. Same with all of these in this video, but really, you know, if everything was just gone and I had to start over from scratch, this is the type of thing I'm buying up first. Even in the middle of summer, I might add. That's how much I love this stuff. Even if it is July and hot and humid out and I'm not going to be touching DHI at all, I'm still going to want this in my collection. Like, that's how important this scent DNA is to me. I love it. It's all about the iris, the lavender, the ambrette, which gives off a chocolatey smell. You guys know the DNA, powdery, sweet, seductive, and just unique. There's something special about this stuff. It's not for everybody, but those who like it really love it, and they understand what makes this one what it is. And it's just that dusty, powdery, creamy, and kind of sticky iris, lavender, chocolatey combination that comes together and creates something amazing. Same with DIOR Homme Parfum. I'll always have a bottle of that one as well, although that can be a little bit tougher to get sometimes. DHI is available everywhere. Retailers, discounters, whatever. Very easy to get, and so as long as I can buy it, I will have it. And really same with this next one here too, RASASI HAWAS, and it all goes back to the DNA for this one. So Invictus Aqua is what got me into this first, because that was something that was hyped up on a big level. It's a big designer brand, so Invictus Aqua, it was all over the place. At that time, I hadn't even heard of this, okay? And so, therefore, I didn't have it. You know, I tried Invictus Aqua first, even though this was first. And so, you know, Invictus Aqua, the 2016, was starting to go through its discontinuation process, and bottles were going crazy. I was hunting down and freaking out and spending so much money on backup bottles of Invictus Aqua 2016, of which I do have quite a few. The 2018 came out, same kind of life cycle, got discontinued and whatever. At the end of the day, come to find out, HAWAS is probably one of my favorites out of all of them. You know, the plum, the apple, the bergamot, the watery notes, the ambroxan, the DNA smells amazing. And it's just, for the price point, great quality. It's like $47, $48, 100 milliliters. And it smells like it could be going for the price of what Invictus Aqua was going for during its prime, you know, up around $80 or so. It really has a lot to offer for a very reasonable price. It has great performance. It is one of the most fun and playful and relaxing summertime DNAs that I have ever smelled. So for as long as I can buy this, I will always have it around. I love this stuff. ROCHAS Man Intense up next. A nice, affordable coffee scent or cappuccino scent. And that's really what it's all about. It's creamy, textured, a little bit spicy, a little bit woody in the dry down. The cappuccino off the top with kind of that balsam fir is what makes this DNA what it is. And the Intense is the one I would go for. The original is still great, and it's a fantastic scent. But if you're only going to buy one, I would just go straight for the Intense. It's a little bit more money right now, but I think as time goes on, the price will drop on it even more. But it's still reasonable. You could still pick this one up well under $50. It's a great buy. You got to be into coffee, of course, coffee scents, that is. And if you do like that type of thing, then you're going to like this. And I do. I'm a big fan of coffee fragrances. I'm a big fan of coffee in general. And so when I have something that smells very realistic in a fragrance form, I'm all about it, and especially at this price point. A lot of the coffee scents out there, or at least a good majority of them, kind of fall over into the niche category where prices really go crazy, but not this. Definitely one I'll always have around. Next up, we have Prada Luna Rossa Ocean Eau de Parfum. Man, this is an underrated release. I think this will probably go down, at least in my opinion, as the most underrated release of the year, this year, of course, 2023. That's not saying that it's the best release, okay? I'm very clear here. I don't think this is the best release of the year, but I do think that this one will be slept on the most. And I think there are going to be some others that are getting hyped up more than this just because they're a bigger name and because this is an ocean flanker. That's my opinion. And it makes sense, and I can't fault anyone for it because the original Ocean is not all that exciting. It's kind of misleading, and this one is even more misleading. It's not oceanic, it's not aquatic, it's not overly fresh. In fact, it's a little bit more smoky and sweet. Kind of a oleibandum frankincense twist in here with an amber extreme kind of blue fragrance kind of vibe a little bit. Tonka bean sweetness, all of that stuff. So it's interesting. The original Ocean EDT had a little bit of iris in it, I believe. I don't remember for sure if this one does. I really don't pick up on much of it. It's all about that frankincense kind of smoky, sweet little twist. It's a really well done scent that is miles better than the original Ocean and miles better than what you would think it would be. And so for me, I think this is a flanker done right. I think they did a great job. This DNA smells amazing. It's just misleading calling it Ocean. I don't get it. If I can still buy this one years down the road, when I run out, I will definitely do so. Mercedes-Benz Club Black, one of my best vanilla designer scents in my collection. It's all about the vanilla. Benzoin as well, a bit of ambroxan. It's $48 to $50 or so on discounters, very reasonable. And again, in terms of designers, it's my favorite and the best vanilla focused designer in my collection anyway. Now, when you go over to niche and some really high-end stuff, there are going to be some things that will start to walk over this, but at this price point, mid-range, you cannot find anything better. I believe that. I mean, this stuff is great. And again, it's important to clarify that I'm talking about fragrances that are based solely around the vanilla and the benzoin accords here. That's what this one is. I'm not talking about scents that have a little bit of vanilla in them and, oh, those are better. It's not what I'm talking about. So that also being said, you have to be a fan of vanilla forward scents to like this one. If you're not, you need to stay far away from it. Because of that, it does have a little bit less of a masculine feel. And so it's also something to keep in mind. But if you want a realistic vanilla scent, this is it. Especially at this price point, you can't go wrong, and I will always have it with me. Next up, ELYSIUM by ROJA Parfums. I love this DNA. I love this scent. The new Eau Intense version is really good. I still prefer the original. I think this one is going to be hard to beat. And also, Eau Intense, surprisingly, is fresher than this. So I think they could have called that Eau Fresh, and I would like to see them release an actual Eau Intense and maybe even make a darker, heavier version of ELYSIUM, just for fun, right? The Parfum Cologne is going to be a little bit lighter and brighter than the pure Parfum, but there is a pretty big price discrepancy, especially price per milliliter. It's always important to factor that in. This retails for $290 for 100 milliliters. The Parfum retails for $495, or yeah, I think it's $495, basically $500 for 50 ml. So half the amount and double the cost. Now, that being said, discounter prices will skew that. The retail, is only a benchmark to go after if you only buy at retail. But discounters, you can get them for a bit less. But still, you kind of see my point here. And so ELYSIUM is just one of the most wearable offerings. I think it's a great entry-level scent into the niche world. It's a great entry-level scent into the world of ROJA Parfums. It was my first full bottle purchase of ROJA, and it was a great one to kind of dive headfirst into the brand. And again, just going back to it, the wearability, the mass appeal, the quality, even the performance of this one is just great. There's not a single thing that I dislike about ELYSIUM. I love it. It's one of my most worn summertime scents. This DNA, to me, is just amazing, and I will always have it. John Varvatos XX Artisan. It's all about the vetiver, the bitter orange. So every designer brand has to have a vetiver scent, just like every designer brand at this point has had an oud and kind of an iris now and things like that. These trends kind of come and go. Vetiver was a little trend at one point, maybe not as big as some of the others, ambroxan and stuff, but it was still pretty prominent. You take a look at a lot of the big designer brands. They have their little vetiver scent. This is John Varvatos' vetiver. And even niche brands do the same as well. ROJA vetiver, all of that stuff. Guerlain vetiver. But this one is still kind of different, and that's what I like. It's not redundant, because when you have all these fragrances, all these brands putting out these vetivers, at some point it might become redundant. Not the case here. The bitter orange sets this one apart. The reason why is because it ties it back to the original Artisan. Remember, this is a flanker. We're way down the road now in terms of all the flankers that they've had. It's easy to kind of lose touch and forget that it all started with Artisan in a wickered bottle just like this, but kind of, orangish or whatever. And that's where it started, all about the orange, the bitter orange, the clementine, all of that stuff. And it kind of has some of that here to tie it back together, just more focus on vetiver. Very realistic, very wearable, classy, upscale, great for more, professional environments, wearing something like this, great for a business meeting or whatever. Great DNA for a great price. This next one is no surprise either. It's Spice Bomb Extreme. It's all about the tobacco, the vanilla, and the black pepper. One of the best designer tobacco scents out there. It really is. It's great. Great for wintertime, great for fall. I've said this before, but to me it smells like the holidays, legitimately. And so for me, the bulk majority of my wearings for this is kind of, I don't know, October, November, December, because that's, and New Year's, because that's kind of where you have a bunch of holidays all relatively close to each other. And also just with the Christmas and things like that, Christmas Eve and everything's just very festive. Once you get past New Year's and all that, and you just get into January, February, March, there's no other holidays to look forward to. Now it's just cold and gloomy outside, and so I'm less wearing this at that point. I like to wear this kind of usually right at the end of the year before the New Year starts over. And so generally I hit it pretty hard during that time, and I never get sick of it. I'll wear this one year over year and always will love it. That's never going to change. As long as I can buy this one, I'm getting it. Okay, we got a new release up next. It's Le Male ELYXIR. So you guys know the drill. Tobacco, honey, great combination. It's been tested and proven to smell fantastic all of the time, and it does. With that, you get a little bit of the Le Male Parfum DNA, kind of like that lavender, spicy, vanillic undertone. So it's like Le Male Parfum just taken to the next level with tobacco and honey. A little bit dusty, a little bit creamy, smoky, maybe a bit more masculine. I would definitely say it's more premium and expensive smelling. And that's also kind of shown by the presentation. This is by far and away their most premium and luxurious presentation yet. The gold is amazing. The pull ring here is a nice added touch. It's no longer a cheap little like keychain tiny thing. Everything about it is upgraded, and this is going to go down as, in my opinion, one of the best releases of the year. Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche is my go-to summer gourmand. It's all about the lemon, some of the tonka bean, your general Allure Homme notes, just with a lemon twist, basically. People call it lemon meringue pie. Great way to look at it. Again, summer gourmand. That's something where you don't get often to me, gourmands in the summertime. Usually they don't work, but I wouldn't wear this one any other time. I'm not going to reach for this in winter. I have many other things to wear, but this one is so refreshing in the spring and summer that it's hard to beat. I love it. This is delicious stuff. It's great, and definitely a little bit more exciting maybe than some of the other Allure Hommes and some of the other even Bleu de Chanel. Really nice, zesty, and uplifting. It's not underrated in the community, although I would argue that outside of the community, people probably aren't getting all over this one. So definitely check it out. Just kicked a whole bunch of bottles there. Okay, next up, Armani Code Parfum. Man, is this good. It is that OG Code DNA that we love with some iris. And that's all it takes, For me, throw in a little bit of iris, just improve the DNA slightly, up the concentration, and you have a great new scent. For many, it's boring, it's redundant, it's played out. Don't buy them, but there are people like myself who love this stuff, and I'm not afraid to admit it. To me, I view it as taking an existing product and just making it better in today's time for today's standards. Guys, the original Code came out years ago. People probably still wear it, but maybe people want something different. Maybe you can find a way to improve that DNA and make it stand up for the test of time in today's world. And that's exactly what this is. They're putting in the iris, they're giving it a stronger concentration. Everything about this is new and improved and much better than Code EDT. Straight to Heaven by KILIAN is one of my favorites from the brand, one of my favorite niche fragrances ever, because it is the most realistic, or one of the most realistic boozy, smoky scents to me ever. It's got rum, cedarwood, patchouli, and dried fruits. There's something special about it, and it's one of those deals where probably not everyone will get it, not everyone will feel that way. Some people will smell this and think, yeah, it smells nice, but nothing. I smell this, and every time it just makes me sit there and go, wow, they managed to capture something like this and blend it into something that you can purchase. And to me, that's remarkable. These are refillable, so I always like to point that out. This literally just unscrews. I do that because if you're buying on places where it's open box, something to think about. Discounters have these for just a hair over 200, maybe 220 or something. One of the most special scents in my collection. Again, magical to me personally. Not everyone, but for me, I will always have this stuff. Always. And we're going to finish the video with Hugo Boss Bottled Oud. It's all about the oud, obviously. The apple, and you get some cinnamon in here as well. So the original Boss Bottle Intense DNA with some oud thrown on top. That's how I describe it. And this is about the closest you can get to Boss Bottle Intense anymore. You know, since you can't buy that one. Just if you could handle just a little bit of a designer level, easygoing, relatively flat, two-dimensional oud, then you're going to be set. I love it. It sounds like I'm hating on it, but I'm not. I like that the oud is subdued and easy to pull off here. Great stuff for fall especially. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some of my very favorite fragrances that I will repurchase for the rest of my life. Links will be down below. Deals will be going out to my mailing list and my texting list. Everything rare like DIOR and PARFUM just had 700 units of that come into stock. Not 700. So everyone was able to get one that time around. All of the rare stuff that you can think of, everything's going to be popping up now through the end of the year. So make sure you jump on those lists and you'll be the first to know. I promise you won't regret it. Great stuff is coming. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.